Good morning. Good morning. This is Mary at the.meri.atelier, and today's Tuesday, July the 30th. Oh my goodness. How did it get to be 30th of July already? Wake up, YouTube. Let's get up and do some art. I have in my July art journal. I'm going to show you the pick 10 that I did. Let's go ahead and get into my stream here so I can see anybody who comes in. Good morning, YouTube. All right. Who's out there? Vanessa. Good morning, Vanessa. How are you doing this morning? Okay. Last night I did a pick 10 with Lisa, and I had filmed it, but I had to film it all in silent mode. And right at the very beginning, it caught some of the wrestling. My brother was watching wrestling, and I downloaded to edit that out, and I don't know. I just got discouraged. I fell asleep before I got it uploaded again. So I'm just not video. It's all in silent mode anyway. It's not really fun to watch unless you're really interested in it. And I think that most everybody would say, just show me the page you did. So this is the page that I did. I was really happy with how it turned out. It's very geometric. It's really not what I usually do. This is just my other signature over here. It's not what I usually do as far as pick 10s. I usually have a focal image and everything. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. The very first prompt was to doodle something. And I doodled these kind of floral shaped flowers. And that shape stayed with me throughout the entire pick 10. This is how it ended up. So there's my pick 10. I had a lot of fun doing it. Lisa, if you happen to come in and watch the very beginning of this, there it is. Good morning, ladies. Who's out there? Let's see. Vanessa and Kendra. Vanessa and Kendra, good morning. Good morning, good morning. I'm a little tired. I was up playing with putting that video into fast forward, and I was doing it on my phone, and my phone Chrome was not cooperating with me. It kept freezing on me. Well, it kept freezing when I tried to download it. So I don't know. It could have been my internet time too. First time I had that issue. But anyway, I didn't get much sleep last night because of that. I'm a little irritable because of it. So there it is. Yay. Really have filled up my July art journal. I'm very happy with how these art journals are going from month to month. Probably have inspired me to do more art journaling through the year than I've done otherwise. But boy, I'll tell you, the journals get really thick. They get really thick. But I like to have enough pages to play in, even though I may not fill up every page. I do tip ins, but not every page gets filled up, but I'm okay with that too. So what I want to do this morning is bind my August journal. And I noticed I have a black mark there from when I was painting on this. And I don't like that black mark. So I got some blue. Let's see if I can just fix this. I don't know. It might take a little bit to fix it. Ew. Got some scum on that. Get off of there. This might be too transparent. No, it's not. It's okay. I'll just put in a darker blue in here. Maybe bring it over that way a little. Well, yeah. Let's dry that spot off. I'm about done with some of these paints here. So I thought I'd bind this journal this morning, and I'm not sure how that's going to go because sometimes I have to work with my binding to get it to work, but we'll see. I have two signatures. This is the inside, and these are my signatures. Now, one of these, I think this one is the first one. And is this the first one? Yeah, it goes this way. I had already started marking my ATCs. And I did not make them quite as thick. I did not put in three. These are what I'm going to put for the wraparounds. These will go in here, right in here. That'll be a folder, that a pocket. And then this other one over here will be the wraparound. I like a wraparound on my journals. But what I need to do, I got Penelope out. What I need to do is grab a hold of my cutting board here. Not so much for the cutting board as for, I'm going to tape. In here, I tape the spine up to strengthen it. I just like that extra bit of transparent tape in there. So I'm using this really wide shipping tape, Gorilla shipping tape. It seems to work pretty nice for me. Let's put it this way. Now, Lippy, you're going to have to sit over here for a bit. And I think I'm going to put two pieces on. And I'll tell you, I keep learning as I do these journal covers. This really shrunk for me. It shrunk almost an inch on each side. I cut it before I painted it. And then after I had it cut, I went ahead and painted and clear coated it. Well, I mean, I painted the cover first, but then I cut it and then I clear coated it and painted the back of it. And when I did that, it shrunk. It shrunk. It shrunk an inch on the horizontal side and a ½ inch vertically. And I knew that it would do that. I just forgot. You know, it isn't like you do that every day. I know that this can shrink. But, oh well. I guess I learned my lesson again. Or I guess you have to learn your lesson 3 times before you actually really soaks in. So all I'm doing is putting some tape along the side here. And I want to put that there so it won't. And of course it gets. Yay, that's on the outside. Let's go ahead and cut this. There we go. So I'm just taping the binding. That will strengthen it. I find that when I do put my needle through this several times, it will tend to not rip and tear, but rip and tear. It just helps when I bind to not rip and crack it so much. In my head, it helps. Put that one right here. So that is what I'm doing this morning, is I'm going to bind this journal, so I'll have it ready to go on Thursday. Can't believe that Thursday's the beginning of August already. Yeah, let's cut this off. In my order, I ordered some, I'm hoping that it's what I want. I asked for plumber's gasket, and I'm hoping that that's what I'm going to get. It's kind of hard when you go to like a store like Home Depot and they don't have what you need in the store, so you do an order and you think you're getting the right stuff, but you're not totally sure. Well, that was me. What I'm wanting is Vicki Ross was doing some carving off a plumber's gasket in one of the hangouts. And I was told that I could get it on the roll at Home Depot. Well, our Home Depot didn't have it. We had to order it. So I ordered some, but it should come. It's taken it almost 2 weeks to get here. It should come today. I got an email saying it would be delivered on Tuesday, July 30th. All right. All right, let's see what's going on out in chat. Report. Oh, it's just Kendra and Vanessa, and everybody else is just watching. Looking and watching him from bed. That's okay. It's early in the morning. I get it. I understand. I understand it's early. I had a little hard time getting up myself this morning. Oh, sweetheart's out there. Good morning, sweetheart. Hello, hello. Good morning, good morning. It's kind of funny to hear yourself say, good morning, sweetheart. All right. So, I'm not going to put the wraparound and the pocket on till last, until I have everything bound. So I want to go ahead and bind the first. And I am not going to, I just have a page in here where I've been protecting my marks. a backing page as I was drawing those ATCs on there. I am not going to, it's a fairly thick. I think there are 25 pages, 25 or 26 pages here. And I'm not going to trim them off because I have more than enough. I've marked my spine here and here. And I did have to cut it down to 10.5 inches. But see, I've got more than enough here. I've got more than enough here to cover any overlap of where those pages grow out. And my wraparound here will come on the back here and wrap around and cover those up anyway, which is why I like my wraparounds. I like my wraparounds to cover up the pages. I prefer that, and I'll be taping up that too, but later. So what I want to do next is bind. And maybe I'll just show you the pages. I have a Bristol board page. I use a variety of pages in here. I prefer that. I like that. I've got some Ladies' World Needlework magazines that I took to the library and copied. 1909. I think it's out of copyright now. But I made some big photocopies of them. And I got that. And then I use a lot of copy paper, just 11 by 17 copy paper. This is a cream color. I have graph paper where I like to draw out my ATCs. I like to work ATCs right in my journal. That's kind of fun to do. This is some paper that I tore down to size. Kendra sent me some blueprint. Well, I call them blueprint. They're building system ones, and I tore them down into 11 by 17. They're plats, building plats, I guess you could call it. I have a map paper. This is the book cover to my Angels in Art book. This paper needs to, do I have this upside down? This paper came from Aunt Beck. I think it's gift wrap, but she sent it to me in Happy Mail, and I thought I'm going to use it in my journal. I got a couple other pages of this. This was just the remaining piece after I sized it down. Some more copy paper, a couple more pages in here. This just gives me pages to work on. Here's that other sheet of, this says Ben-Hur and J. Stevenson's son. Map paper, graph paper, a manila envelope. Here's that other section. I guess you'd call it a building plot. It's almost like a blueprint, only it's not on the blue paper, it's on white paper. Installation of temporary erection bracing is the responsibility of the erector and not provided by the building manufacturer. Section E-E3. So I kind of ANS building systems. I kind of like that. I put this in some of my other journals, and I don't think I did much to it. I just like it is. Copy paper, graph paper. This is a paper that I think it was Anna Jones. She's in, or was in when she sent it to me, Shannon Green's group. And this is called Nautaqua News. And it's sort of like a community newspaper. See, the copyright here is 2017. But this Nautaqua is kind of like a, see, what is Nautaqua? The state of Nautaqua is just a state of mind. So many of you have asked this question every month. I continue to explain how I come up with this name for the publication. According to the Fairfield's Pioneer History of Lassen County, California, published in 1960, The actual meaning of Nataqua or Nataqua is believed to be the term used for woman or wife in the local Native American dialect. So Nataqua is actually not a name of a town or anything. It's a name meaning woman or wife. And this is the actual newspaper. She sent me 2 or 3 of these. She said, I thought you'd enjoy using them. And I am. I think it fits really nice. This is my journal theme is going to be the 1920s. Here's some more of that building plat. This is an envelope that Sharon Lombard, I don't have the address on it, so envelope that Sharon Lombard sent me some happy mail. Copy paper and watercolor paper, and then it just doubles on the way back. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch in this signature, and as I said, when you fold these papers, these were each folded individually, but when you fold them and you fold them like this, see it's about 1/4 of an inch that it takes up in there. And I don't mind that. And I don't even mind for my journals this. You could trim this off, but I kind of like it like that. But I do think I'm going to even it out here. Let's see, I'll need a couple clips, my bulldog clips. And Annie V, bless her heart, gifted me with an awl. I've been using this. Yay. So now a lot of people who bind books and everything, this is not a tutorial of how to bind. This is how I bind. So I kind of do it my way. Now this watercolor paper is actually shorter. It's 9 by 15 or 10. Well, yeah, it was 11 by 15. And so that makes it an inch shorter on both sides. And I think actually I'm going to put it in here. So that when I fold that like this clip will have something to hold on to. And so, and as I said, this is not a tutorial of how to bind. This is a demonstration of how I bind my journals. And that could change at any time as I progress through and grow in my skills. I might change the entire way that I do it. But I've marked off here where the spine is, right in here. There's about 2 3/4 inch area in here for the spine. This shrunk a little, so that shrunk in there. And I'm not going to put it right at the edge of the spine. I'm going to put it in a little. But what I usually do is I just take my book cover and fold it over and put the bulldog clip on it. Like this. If I can get it in there. Come on. Just like that. And that holds it enough for me. Make sure that it's straight down in here like you want it. I might need to push that up a little. Yeah. Loosen that a little. And then I put another one here, but I generally mess around with these while I'm binding. This may not stay here all the time. I'm going to put it here for now. And then I get my needle and thread ready. Now, here's the other thing that I do differently, and that is I use a really long thread, longer than normal. And I do that because I like to make my tassel on the edge of my binding out of the same thread that I'm binding with. And to make a tassel, you have to have several lengths of thread. So let me get my tea out of the way. Get a drink of it first here. So I do the same thing to figure out how much string I need. And I allow a good length. I mean, I just don't go from here to here. I allow maybe 3 inches out over this way and 3 inches that way. That way I have a good amount of play. And so that's one. And then I just keep pulling 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm not sure you can see what I'm doing, 6, and I think I'm actually going to make 8, 7. Now, in order to do this, if you're a beginning bookbinder, you might find yourself getting a little frustrated with the long string. And I would tell you to go out and look at Sea Lemon's videos and how she binds if you're really interested in a tutorial. This is how I do it because I've done it this way for, well, almost every journal that I made this year, and I'm happy with it. Oh, and I didn't want to cut it, but I did. So I'm going to hold that off. So I didn't want to cut it because I wanted to double it. I'll use that for something else. Let's do this again. 1, 2, and you'll see me struggling. Even I struggle a little with it. I go slow, but still you have to be very careful. 3, that you keep your threads untangled. Just go slow and keep your threads untangled. 4, if you use a long thread. 5, 6, 7. But I've done needlework for years, so I'm pretty used to avoiding the tangles. 8. Now see, I've got a length 8 times this length, and I really only need for my this is 1/2 of my tassel right here. I'm going to double this. That's why I didn't want to cut it. So I hold it here, and then I just start pulling thread off of the skein here to double it. And I just keep it doubled. And I just keep pulling the thread. It's really long. It has to be maybe 4 yards long, maybe even 5 or 6. I didn't measure. And it's long. It's a long binding thread. Tanya would probably freak out. I use a really long thread, Tanya says, well, Mary, it will frustrate the beginners. Yeah, it probably will, unless you just go slow and careful. Now, I need a needle. And so I've got red thread on my needle. I was putting charms on my ATCs yesterday morning. And I thread the 2 open threads. The 2 open threads, I got paint on me. Through the needle, so that the loop thread is at the very end, way over there. And another thing I'll tell you, even if you're binding with a short thread, clear everything off of your table. Clear everything off of your table, because these threads will want to catch on anything, but they won't want to go through the eye of the needle. I put some DNA on it, but meaning I wet it with my spit. But I never put this part gets clipped off in the end anyway, so I don't worry too much about residual DNA. There. Now, say I have my scissors here. I take that and put them away. Way over here, I have all my ink pens and paint brushes and palette knives. Get those all off of your table because your thread will say, oh, let's go catch on that. Or at least just put them, I'm going to put them over here on in the little lid I have over here. I'm going to keep the awl out because I need it to mark. Okay. So I'm just going to leave my thread just like this. Put my other thread over here until I need another one. I should only need 2 of those, one for each. Now I'm going to come in here, and I do not mark this. Here's the other thing that people who you see binding journals and probably teaching tutorials will say, get a phone book or a big book and put your book, open up the phone book, and then put your journal in there when you poke the holes. And I don't do that. I do have some trouble sometimes getting the holes where I want them, but I think that's a matter of what I do. But I start here at the top, and I put 2 holes in there. I put 2 holes in there, just like, and I'm actually going to turn my top to the bottom and go from the bottom to the top, but I'll still want 2 holes down there. No, I'm not. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to change this around because I got my clips in the way. I'm going to put that there, put this one down at the bottom. I need my top clear so I can poke the holes. In fact, I might just put it over here on the side. There. There. Okay. Now, it makes a difference whether you hold your journal this way and poke it in this way. Sometimes I hold my journal upright and bind this way, or if you put it flat out this way. And because of the way the paper folds in and out, where you poke those holes will make a difference. And I poke the holes as I go. And see, my thread is already getting kind of tangly here. Hopefully I'm okay. Put it over that way. Okay. Now here again, this is the Meri method. I'm not advising this as a tutorial or anything. I'm just showing you what I do. And sometimes I even struggle through it, but in the end, I'm usually pretty happy with them. I'm usually pretty happy. I'm going to straighten up my papers a little. I'm usually pretty happy with them. I'll pull it through a little more too. And some of them do end up a little wonky, but I just say it's my art journal. It's supposed to be wonky. Now it looks like I have more over here, but don't forget I've got another signature to go in there. So that'll eat up this other binding. So I want 2 holes right up here at the top. And I'm figuring out how I want to actually get in there and do that. I go maybe about 3/4 of an inch down. And I guess I am more comfortable doing it this way. And I just start poking my pokey tool or awl. Annie V sent me an awl. Keep your hand out of the way because you don't want to poke yourself. And then I'm just wiggling it through the paper there. And it's coming through right here. I can see it. You know, and I'm going through all of those papers at once. Now, as I said, if you'll see, a lot of people will put this down inside of a phone book, and this all will go down into the gutter of that phone book. But I kind of like to see it come out on the other side. Yeah. Let's see. Let's grab paper. You can see it right here. And I just kind of wiggle it in and around so that it has a nice little hole. But I do find that if I poke all of these at once, that I don't know, the holes get lost. So I've been trying to see if I can just poke them, and I poke the top ones, but even poking the top ones. See, now I want to go back through that again. Now I know that I'm going to come from inside my thread here. My needle's going to come in and out here. But sometimes my needle, when I go back in, has to go in here and out here. So sometimes after I poke this hole and get it nice and open space in there, and you think, oh, it's a big old gap, but really your thread and your pages, it all works out. But sometimes after I get this done, I'm going to poke a little hole, maybe about a 1/2 inch down from it. I should probably have another clip on holding this, but I get so many clips that get in my way. So I'm going to go, you could go a 1/4 inch down, but I'm going to go maybe about a 1/2 inch down. I want to leave myself some room in here, maybe not quite a 1/2 inch, maybe about 3/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to poke another hole in there. And this will be for my top. And I'm just drilling it through. You can't see because the border's in the way, but I'm just going like that. So I have bound every journal for every month. This is August. This will be the 8th journal that I've bound this year using this method. And see, now my thread, my needle here is coming off over here, maybe about a 1/4 of an inch away, and I don't like that. So I'm going to go move it up again and see if I can't realign this. I might have to put that clip on there, even though I see my pages have moved around. I don't like that other clip in there, but I might have to do that. Let me get that other binder clip and hold these pages steady. That other bulldog clip here. Here we go. I might have to work with this again just to get it steady. Well, let's get it in there and redo this. Yeah, it's coming out the same spots. I just want to make sure that it's but I didn't like where the second one was going. It was going almost a 1/2 of an inch away vertically, and I didn't like that. So I guess I'm going to do this vertically, at least for these two. Yeah, now it's coming out straight. Now it's coming out right under the other one. And I suppose putting it in a big old dictionary might help, or a big old phone book. But I don't do that. I don't even know if we've got a phone book around here anymore. I suppose there's one under the cupboard someplace out in the kitchen. There we go. Now it's coming through right here. Now, I know that I'm going to have to drive my needle back through from the outside to the inside. So I like to come from the outside and just drill it back in. And it's drilling back in fine. It's in the right spot there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, you can. That just makes it easier for my needle to go through. And I might have to do that when I'm stitching it. Now I'm going to try something here that may or may not work for me. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to poke my holes as I bind, because I find as I'm binding down, I'm having to readjust everything, and I'd rather readjust it on the as I work. So here's my threaded needle with the two open ends here and the big old piece of thread there, and I'm just going to thread it through at the top, and in the first I might take my awl and go through here and make sure, yeah, it's going through fine. So let's put my needle through, went right through, and then I just pull it through, and like I say, go low, go slow, keep your threads untangled, and just pull it through. It looks like a wad, but actually it's just kind of curled up on itself there. And just keep it untangled and pull it through. Pulling it through. Oops, I pulled too much on one thread there. I got a double thread, so you might want to pull both threads at the same time. Keep the threads even. Now, I don't always do this perfectly, and I know I don't. I think I showed one time, what was it, my March journal? I did it online while I was streaming, and it wasn't perfect. Now I'm leaving this loop. See, there's the loop, that side there. I'm going to let that hang until I get this other side through. And I'm going to pull this thread over here. And it's really going to be up, kind of upside down. Let's see if I can turn it over. That'll help. And I'm going to take my awl and go back through. Yep, that's going through nice. So I can put my needle through. Sometimes my needle doesn't want to go in the same way that my awl goes in, but this went fine. And I do the same thing, just pull it through slow and keep it untangled. Now I'm just showing you how I do it. I'm not saying this is the way you should bind a journal, because you'll see a lot of different methods. But I find this takes a little extra effort, but I love that I can do the tassels at the end. And I like doing my tassels right on my thread. I don't have to sew them on again. And I just like doing it that way. That's just what I like to do. And it takes a little time, but it takes a little time to bind journals anyway. A lot of times when you're watching an edited video, people will cut out a lot. They'll edit out a lot of the low and the slow stuff. You're seeing this live, mistakes and all. Mistakes and all. All right. And I'm not watching chat. Let's see, is anybody out there? We got 16 people out there. Hi, Mina. Kimberly is in here. Yeah, I'm the Meri Art Journal binder this morning, aren't I? Let me get this through, and then I'll look at the rest of the chat. All right, so I got my very first, and it's just my very first stitch is just a little 1/2 inch there, because when I bind down and then come back up again, I'll catch my needle right in here, and that's where I'll start building my tassel coming from the top to the bottom. Let's see, Kimberly is in here. Good morning. Nina's here. Sweetheart is here. Mina says, good morning, Mary and everybody. I'm only just going to bed. Oh, Mina. Hi, Janet. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Anne is in here. Good morning, Anne. Vanessa is here. And Kendra. Good morning, ladies. Thank you for stopping in and saying good morning to me. I'm binding my journal here, so I'm not chatting too much. Okay, so see, I have that loop here, and I have my thread here, my needle, and here's what I say. That thread likes to catch on to anything it can. I'm going to put my needle through that loop like that and pull it through. Pull it through, pull it through. And here my thread isn't going into a nice little pile over here is what I want. And it takes a little bit of time, but I'm happy with it in the end. And then this is what they call a blind knot in needlework, is where you have a loop, you have a double thread, you have a loop, you put the 2 open ends through the eye of your needle, and the loop at the bottom. You go in, and you come back out through the loop, and then you pull it tight. And it might take a little bit here to pull it because I've opened my book. You pull it tight like this, and that'll form a blind knot. And I really like that because there's no need to tie it in there, and I do like that. Now I'm going to do seven holes down. I'm going to go in and out the middle one, and in and out the bottom one. And there's no two little, there's only one little hole down here at the bottom. There's no need to do 2. And then I'll travel back up again. But let's get my journal covered nice and even here again. I might have a little there. And that's okay for this because I do have another signature to put in here that will use up this space. So I'm going to poke my second hole. Now this is something that I don't normally do. I normally poke all my holes and then try to bind it. But I'm thinking that if I poke as I go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm only going to do 5. I was doing 7, but I think I'm only going to do 5. 1, 2, let's see, in and this way and in and that way and out. I should be okay. I might have to adjust it up there, but let's see. I'm only going to do 5 this time. My journal's a little bit, it's a 1/2 inch shorter. I just don't see the need to do 7 this morning. And I'm just eyeballing it, about saying my center of my journal is about here. And so I'm going to go between there and the center, and I'm just going to drill a hole again. Just going to drill a hole. And you could measure and all of that. I don't bother. It's just my art journal. This isn't like I'm making a book for somebody or selling it or anything like that. This is just for me to play with in the month of August. And I find that the more I do this, the better I get at it too. The more I learn. You learn by doing sometimes. You just learn by doing. It's coming out. Sometimes you just have to jump in there and grab some copy papers and wallpaper and book covers and, you know, junk mail, and start binding it. Just start teaching yourself how to do it here. But I have to say, this all helps an awful lot. Thank you, Annie V, if you're watching this. Okay, let's see if my needle will fit through. And it does. It goes right in there. It comes right out over here on the other side. Let's pull my paper over so you can see. Actually, you're seeing more vertically, I think, than if I was doing it horizontally, because you're seeing from top down. And then I'm going to do the same thing, just slowly pulling it through. Sometimes I get a little bit in a hurry, but don't do that. And if you do it slow and keep your threads untangled, you won't get into a mess. It's when you get distracted, or you want to get it done, or you're in a hurry, or, you know, somebody's moving you along when you're not ready to move, then you get in trouble. Keep everything away from keep all the loose pencils and pens and paint brushes, and keep your desk clear so this thread doesn't have anything to grab onto. There we go. Now I'm ready to do the middle one. You can pull it tight if you want. I'll be pulling on it so the middle one's probably right about into here, I would say, right about there. I think 5 will be fine on this. And binding journals, let's talk about binding journals, because Tanya and Lisa are going to do their how to bind the long stitch, their little mini journal class today at 12 noon Central Time. Where was I going? Right here? Right here. So they'll be teaching a binding the long stitch. And this is kind of a long stitch, but this is really this is a pamphlet stitch. This is just a basic pamphlet stitch. Okay, I'm just drilling my middle hole through there, kind of trying to look around this front cover here. I'm just drilling it through. Now it's coming through. Actually, it's coming right where I want it to, I think. We'll see when I get there. Yeah, it's coming right here. If you can see my hand, you can, sort of. It's coming right there. So just keep on going low and slow. I say slow and clean, I guess I should say. I say low and slow because it rhymes. It's really slow and clean. Go slow, keep your threads untangled. And I'm drilling it clear through down here to this shaft to the top because it's thicker down there. The needle of the awl is thicker down here, and so that gives me a wider hole. And I like a wide hole for my needle to go through. Now I'm going to pull it out again. Now, because I'm going in, I'm going to put my needle from the outside in here to make sure I can put I'm going to put my awl through there to make sure that it's going to come through the same way. And I'm not sure that it is. We'll see when I get to the other side there. I feel like I'm drilling paper here. It's off just a little, but I think I'll be okay. It should go in there really nice. Let's go back through this again. See, this will go through real nice. That pokes through real nice. But this is the problem I have when I turn it around this way and want to put my needle back through there. It loses its way sometimes. And so I take my awl and make sure that I have a path through there. There we go. There we go. And if I can get a path back through from this side to the inside with my awl, it's much easier to put my needle through. So let's take my needle. Let's hope that was a true statement. Yeah, it's going to go through fine. And here again, keeping your thread as untangled as possible and pull it through. Yeah, sometimes this thread, the way I pull it through, the top gets on the bottom and the bottom gets on the top here. I have to turn it over because I put the needle through first, so that falls on the bottom of my loops, if that makes any sense. And as I pull all this other thread through, that goes out on top. But when I want to put it back through, I have to have the needle that's on the bottom on the top. Mary, what are you saying, huh? Oh, out of the way there. Just pull it through. It takes a little bit of time to do this, but I don't know. I'm happy with it in the end. And I thought I'd just do once more. See how my thread kind of tangles in there? That's because I've turned that thread in and out so many times that it's starting to twist. And I think, I'm not totally sure that this will get rid of the twist. But to start from the bottom here, let's see. Let me grab my Germex here and put it here. Let my book rest against it. Start from the bottom and just kind of pull it this way, and that'll pull out some of that twist. As we go down, see, I'm pulling out some of that twist, I think. It'll even up my threads at least. I know that. And it's not a requirement to work with a long thread. It's just like, it's how I like to work. Now in needlework, if you're doing needlework, a lot of teachers will tell you not to use a long thread because you go in and out of your fabric so many times because you're doing all those little tiny stitches. See, I graph paper here. You go in and out and in and out and in and out. And if you have a really long thread, all these little fibers on your thread will get worn in and out. And I can kind of even see some wear of going in and out here where where your thread goes through the paper. See how much shorter that one thread is than the other? Well, I should be able to even it out mostly. It may not be exactly, but it should be. By doing this, it should even this out and untwist it a little down here toward the end. It might have a little twist left to it, but not as bad. And you'll naturally have a long and short just from your double threads of going in and out of your paper. Just going in and out and in and out. It'll make one thread longer than the other. I just clip them off. Okay. So now I'm ready to do the next one. I don't need this anymore. And actually my camera thread was holding it. That was holding my camera thread back. Let me get it back in there. My camera wire. Now see, I got a little loose in there, so I'm going to kind of pull this taut, make it tight. I'll be pulling that taut as I go back through. And I'm just going slowly through this. Now I have one more middle one that I want to do, and then the bottom one. So let's do the lower middle. And I'm just going to drill it again. And I think I do like working vertically because I can push my paper close to the spine. And if you work in a phone book, you're working vertically, only you're turning your book that way. So I'm doing the same thing, only I'm holding my book vertically instead of horizontal. Same difference, just a different direction. Same thing. And I'm just drilling my hole in there with my awl. It's only about halfway through. Here it comes. And I suppose I could turn my book the other way now, but I'm going to keep it just like this. There, it's coming through. Actually, this one's going pretty nice and even. My July one was a little crooked. I'm a little frustrated with it. But I got it done, and I was happy with it in the end. And I go all the way in there. Now, I was using my pokey tool to do this. But Annie V gifted me this awl, and I really like it. I have a nice grip on it there. Now, let's see if my needle fits through. Oh, it fits through beautifully. Beautifully. My scissors out of the way. And here we do. Pull it through again. Pull it through, pull it through. This may be all I get done this morning, but if it's all I get done, it'll mean I have my August journal done on time. Happy Mail's not done on time, but my journal will be ready to go in August. I'm still working on Happy Mail. Well, I keep adding things to the Happy Mail. I want to paint envelopes. I was watching Janet Young paint envelopes yesterday. Oh, wow. She did the neatest technique on the jelly plate. You have to go watch Janet M. Young. All right, I'm ready to do the last one. Janet M. Young, her video, her live stream from yesterday. She did the neatest technique on the jelly plate. Like, this is her jelly plate. And then she was using alcohol inks. And she put some alcohol ink on her jelly plate. Now, you have to be careful. I was reading chat, and one gal said that the alcohol ink can stain your jelly plate. So if you're worried about that, you might want to think twice. But Janet didn't seem to be worried about it. She went ahead and she put her alcohol ink down, and then she took and blew it with a straw just to get it to move a little. She actually did different things with it too, because she also used markers, and she hit that with alcohol, or 91% alcohol. But anyway, got her alcohol down on her jelly plate, or alcohol ink there. And then she took a really thin, I think she used Master Touch white. I want to say it was titanium white. And she put a really thin coat over it, like she was going to do a wipe off. And she just brayered it on. Now, that's something I have to learn yet, because when I tried putting that wipe off, my jelly plate mine doesn't pull up right. And I must not leave it long enough for it to all pull up. I don't know. I'm still playing with that. I'm a baby jelly plater. But anyway, but when she pulled it up, she waited a while. She let that layer dry, or dry to a sticky state. And then she pulled it up, and it was beautiful. Oh, it was beautiful. You just have to go watch that video if you're interested in that technique. She did a really nice work on it. Okay, I'm going to do the bottom hole. Hopefully going back through these will not be a problem, because I should be going through the same holes. And I should probably turn this upside down to do the bottom one, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to drill it anyway. Keep my hand out of the way here, hopefully. So I'd like to try that sometime. I don't have a lot of alcohol ink. I don't buy it. I have all those permanent markers, and I was wondering if my Inkahol inks would work the same way as the alcohol. May not have as much pigment in it, but I don't know. Some of those Inkahol inks have a lot of pigment in them. The ones I did with the highlighters don't. So when I get this one done, I'll come look at chat. Here, it's coming through right there. It's coming through here. So if you're saying anything to me in chat, I'm missing it until I get this one done. And I had a laugh yesterday. Janet had a new person in her chat, and she said something to Janet, and Janet missed it because Janet was busy working on our project. And a couple of threads down, she said, "Does Janet read her chat?" Yeah. Nobody answered, but I noticed Janet did when she got down. She said, "Yeah, I read the chat. I answer my chat, but not while I'm busy working." So if you see somebody doing a live stream, and if they're in the middle of doing something like what I am here, don't expect them to notice your chat right away. All right, I'm going to turn it around. And since I have to put my needle back through, I'm going to hopefully go right back through here. I don't know if that'll... It's a little awkward here. No, it didn't go through. I have to go back in. Yeah. That went through enough. Sometimes I have to get a big hole there. Now this should go right back in. If I do it for my left hand is not as steady as my right hand. I'm a right-handed person. Can I get it in there? No. I don't know if I can get it in with my right hand either. There. Yeah, now it's coming through. Just going back through it this way, when I have to go back, when I go this way from needle through that way, it goes fine. But if I have to come back through this way, I take my awl and make sure that my awl goes through there so that my needle will go through there fine. Let's see if I can work that out and put my needle in. There we go. Now, I think I'll be on my way. But this is where I need to slow down maybe, because this is where I can tangle my thread when I think I can work faster. It's going through really. This journal is binding up real nice. I'm really happy with how this is going. Pull your thread maybe taut at this time. Make sure everything is nice and tight. Now at this point, Tanya McGuire will bring her thread down and come back around the bottom and up through there again. But I don't do that. I don't care to do that. She makes sure that these are bound in the book. This does not bother me here. But I can certainly understand why she does it. It's just another technique. If you are interested in learning how to do that, go visit Tanya's channel. I'm sure she'll demonstrate it for you. Now, see, this goes right through again. So I shouldn't have to do any more poking. But let's stand it up again. This is where I tangle my threads because I think I can go faster. I fool myself. Yeah, my journal's kind of. Just go slow. Keep your threads neat. They won't tangle if you just keep them neat and pull them through. You might want to pull this one tight, make sure it's all taut in there. I kind of hold on to this one, guide it through, like you were a sewing machine. And this may seem like a lot of effort to go through, but once you get it done, you got my journal done and ready to go for August. Okay. Now I should be able to come through this one with no effort. We'll see if that's the truth. Hopefully it will be. Yep. This is going nicer than the last time I did this. See, I feel like I can work a little bit faster now because I don't have to stop and poke those holes. That's what takes the time, but going the journey back through, it's up a little there. No, it's not. You can, if you want at this point, take your thread, and I've seen that done, just come back underneath of this one, just to kind of loop those two together. It's as you wish. I'm going to. But here again, I want to keep my threads. And why do I work with such a long thread? Because I want to make a tassel out of my thread. At the end, this is why I do it. Why don't you just make a tassel and stitch it on? Because I don't want to. That's why. I want it all in one thread. And then go back in through. Goes in real nice. Yay. This one's working out. Maybe I get too overly confident here. Pull it through. Pull it through. I was going to look at chat. I forgot. I got so excited to getting this done here. Pull it through. Pull it through. Keep your threads untangled. It just takes keeping things from tangling up on each other. Now I'm ready to do these at the top. And you can do this several ways. I've done it several ways. And as my thread gets shorter, it gets easier to work with. I'm going to go through this because my needle and thread have been going through really nice through these holes. Sometimes it doesn't go through nice, and I just end up building my tassel off of that, right little loop there. But I'm actually going to go in, and back out again. And then I'll build my tassel. And I'm going in because I have this stitch here to do yet. But sometimes this doesn't go as nice as it's going here, and I'll end up just sewing my thread right onto that little thread there, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm just pulling it through again. This is binding really nice. And I am using black. I don't mind the black binding thread. You could use tan or white, or I'm using black because I like the black tassels. That way. And then come back through it again. Like this. Oops, don't get that tangled, Mary. This is, I get overly anxious to get it done, and then I'll tangle it. You just keep your thread nice and neat. There we go. Yay! Now I'm going to build my tassel. And I'm going to build it off of this little half stitch, little short stitch that I have up at the top. And the way I do that, you can take a stitch if you want. You don't have to. Just loop it through there. Pull it through, pull it through, pull it through, pull it through. You have to determine how big you want your tassel. I like to have mine hang down. And I'll maybe make it about 3 inches down. That's why I needed all that thread. And then when I snip my threads, I'll snip them probably to right about maybe a ½ inch underneath of the. Sometimes I snip them longer, but I find that just right about a ½ inch from the bottom of the book, and then, it just determines if you don't want your tassels that long, you may want them shorter. But here's my thread here. This is the way I do this. I'm keeping this white paper under it so you can see. I pull my thread down, and then I kind of say, okay, I want it this long for now. And so I double back this way, make that loop. And then I'll take my thread, and it's a little bit easier to work with, but I'll take my thread here. It's a little shorter, so it's a little easier, but it's still long. And keeping this double thread where I've looped back, this is going to make 4 threads of my tassel. I'll come back up here and put my needle through that loop, and I'll actually do a stitch there without pulling this. And it gets a little, you have to keep track of your threads. But if you keep track of them, you should be fine. Now I haven't made my stitch yet. I've just pulled it through, so it can still pull shorter if you're not careful. I'll make it a little longer there. And let's just go back through it again. No, let's go back this way again. Sorry about that. So that should hold it pretty good. That should knot it right there. And then I do it again. This is why I needed that long thread. And it really does not make a huge thick tassel. It maybe make 4 or 5 loops here, which makes 4 threads to a loop. I'm going to stitch it again in here. Just stitch it how you're comfortable stitching it. That you do want to make a tight stitch in there. I'm going to come back through it like that. Hold that tight. And if you're unsure, you can do another stitch. It doesn't matter, it just makes a little top knot up here anyway, so I kind of like that anyway. And you could put a bead on here. I don't like to put beads and charms on at the beginning because I'm working in the journal all month and they get in my way. And I usually forget to do it at the end of the month. Making another stitch. Just hold it tight. And then do another loop. And we're getting a tassel out of it. Pull it back this way. This is where you can shorten those threads if you're not careful. Do another stitch up here. And if you don't do that stitch, now I usually come through this loop again, you'll find this thread pulling out. You want to be sure you get that stitch in there so that thread doesn't pull out on you. You want to get that knot up there, and I do it a couple times just to make sure. And that's kind of long. That's long. How did I do that? Well, that'll just be long. I'm not going to worry about it because I stitched it. That'll get, that loop was longer than the others because I was showing how I did the stitch there. But I do stitch this a couple times just to make sure that it's nice and secure up here, because when you snip these threads, if you don't have it stitched up there, these threads can pull through. So I usually stitch these pretty good up here. Knot it in there. Just as if you were doing a tassel. If you've ever seen how they wrap a tassel around a cardboard and then they take their thread and they'll do that center stitch in there, and then they'll fold the tassel over that way and they'll stitch in here. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just doing that center stitch when I come back underneath of my threads, and that will hold your tassel. That's what Mary says. I think I can get one more loop, 1.5 loops out of this thread yet, which makes me a nice little tassel. So bring it down. I don't need to bring it down as far, and loop up and do one more stitch in here. And this might get a little short if I pull in my thread. There. Stitch this. Stitch it through there. Tighten it up. Do it 2 or 3 times here. This is my last thread. I don't think I have enough to do. Well, I could do a loop, but it would be very short. I'm just going to let this be a single 2 threads going down this way and trim it off. So I'm actually going to stitch this a couple times in here just to make sure it's nice and tight. And you could put charms or beads, but like I said, I don't like to do that at the beginning because they get in my way as I'm working on my journal throughout the month. And then at the end of the month, I usually forget to do it. So I usually just have tassels. Oops. See, I got a knot on there with I don't know if I can get that out. So when I get something like that, where I got this little loopy-doopy here, I got a little loop, I just stitch it in. I'll just hold it there and stitch around it, make it look like it belonged there. That happens to me. Where is that other one? It blends in. That was an oops. I tied my knot before it was tight. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I'll catch my needle on it this way. Here are the 2 loops, the ends of it. And pull the thread through and then pull that loop up toward the top of the tassel and just bend it over. Stitch it up toward the top. This forms a nice little top knot up here. Then I've got this long thread that I just let hang down. Pull it off of the needle. Now, I'm not ready to snip these yet because I got another journal to bind, but I am going to snip this in the last thread, the last two threads. So just snip it there, just to get it out of my way. Now I got another signature to bind. And what I usually do is take this tassel. This will be one of my tassels. I do a tassel for every signature. If I have 3 signatures, I have 3 tassels, but I'm only going to have 2 signatures in this journal. And I just take it and kind of double it up this way and put it underneath the clip to keep it out of my way while I'm binding. Get in there. Yeah. Just kind of clip it in there, and that'll keep it out of the way while I'm doing my other. So let me go look at chat. I'm going to have another signature to bind, but look how nice that came in there. Look how nice that was. And like I said, I got another signature, so that'll take up this gap, this extra. So let's look at chat and see what, let me put my needle where I can find it here. Okay. Hi, Christy. Sweetheart says, Mary, all the crazies woke up. Over 20 viewers now. Well, it's almost 6 o'clock and I'm buffering. Let me take care of my buffer because that drives me crazy. I get rid of all my notifications. I minimize my YouTube. Get rid of anything that I have open. Get rid of my there. And then I usually still open here, so I get rid of it there. Come back in. I think that's YouTube's fault where it buffers like that. Then come back in. There, now I'm not buffering. Thank you, Suzanne. Good morning. Good morning. Jersey is here. Kimberly's in the house. You have been on here with us a while, Janet. Christy's in the house. Ruth is here. Oh, she had to leave. Ruth was here. She said good morning to Barb. She's going to probably have to go to work. She says, bye, ladies. Have to go. Have a great day. Barb is in the house. Hi, Barb. Jersey's in the house. Janet is here. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Good morning. Laura's here. Ruth. Janet says, Mary, I make mine with rubbing alcohol and permanent marker in a little spray bottle. Yes, that's how I do my inkahols. This was a permanent marker. Actually, what I did is I had red and I added green and a little yellow to it. And I think I put a tiny bit of black in there too. And it made a nice brown color. It made a nice brown color. But I don't know if something like this made with our alcohol inks, our permanent markers, if this will do the same technique that Janet was doing yesterday. I don't see why it wouldn't. Well, I do. This may not have as much pigment in it from all of our little felt things that we cut up in there, because I don't know about you, but I just used my leftover pens. Just using up what's the ink that's left over, and got a hangnail here. Let me clip that off. I just use the ink that's left over in my pens when they're running dry. But I'm going to try it and see. This has got a lot of pigment in it. Or that black is just making it black. But this comes out to be a nice, pretty little brown color. It's got a green bottle. So, yeah, that's how I call them inkahols, Janet. Ruth says, Janet, my husband is on vacation this week. Today we are spending the day with our daughter. Oh, she's not working. She's spending their day with the daughter and granddaughters. They're going swimming this morning and hope for wildlife this afternoon. Ruth is going to be tired when she gets home. It was kind of messy, but it looked cool. Her envelopes were awesome. Yeah, it was kind of messy. I noticed she had a one finger glove on. Looked like she cut a finger out of a rubber glove. She was working with that stuff. We're talking about Janet and her alcohol experiment on the jelly plate yesterday. Beautiful results. Awesome results. Yeah, they were cool. Excuse me. Nancy is in the house. She said, I started a border book, but I need to catch up with Aunt Bet. She's way behind. Well, Nancy, if you're still in here, I've been doing the borders with Aunt Beck too. And let me tell you, they go pretty fast. Aunt Beck does not do complicated borders. And she does them online in her stream. So like if you're on week 2, I would just, she does 8 to a page. I would just draw out my 8, and if you're doing them a page by page, or just flip by a couple pages and, leave space for your other weeks in there. I think Aunt Beck is planning on doing those borders. She'll have to talk for herself, but I think she said she had enough to carry her through to the end of the year, which I think is really going to be fun. And I think Aunt Beck is doing a border book. I'm doing mine in my art journals, but I'm doing them on, well, no, I'm not doing them on Success. I might in August do them on all the pages together every week. And then I go in and I have to do the colonial borders, so I go play with, she inspires me. Let's see, Janet said good morning. Nancy said good morning. Ruth came in. I think I'm back to all the good mornings. Nina's in the house, or was in the house. Sweetheart is here, and Kendra and Vanessa. Okay, so I think I'm ready to do the second one. And I'm not going to talk through, well, I might talk through it. We'll see. I'm going to ahead, I want to bind this journal. Whoops, I took that out. Well, I'll have to put it back again. So I'm ready to put the next signature in, which I have ready. Right here. I actually have a binder on it. Hairband. Right here. Make sure I have it right side up. Same type of papers. I don't think I had it right side up. Let's see. This is an envelope from Aunt Beck. Isn't that beautiful? I'm just making sure my papers are right side up. Sometimes I put them in upside down. Like, I think it goes this way. Oops. I want to show you that. Addresses. I do want to show you this, though. Let me go back on. This is another. Well, I can't show that. Grab my paper here with my needle. This is that needle craft paper. Talks on Married Life. I copied this out of a vintage needle craft at the library. So I can art journal on one side and have this kind of cool stuff on the other side. Too bad I can't have a 17. I guess I could put double pages this way and this way, but then it'd be cut off that way. I'll just leave the text going that way. You can read it sideways. Okay, let me take this back out because I want this. Put it back underneath my journal. Okay. So I think I'm right side up on all of these. Yeah, this is that paper, the Nataqua paper that Ann Jones sent to me, and I made a pocket out of this because I didn't want to cut it off. Manila envelopes. This is Aunt Beck's wrapping paper. I love that. She sent me a sheet of it. I cut it into pages for my art journal. Here's the Ladies' World again. copy paper and graph paper. And I have some of Kendra's blueprint. And I got my American Churches book cover here. I was going to do reverse collage on this, and I started it, and I never finished it. I got off onto doing that angel book, and I've been doing the angel book. Kind of like Dee Dee. I was listening to her talk about her Abandoned Places book yesterday, and she said, I got all the books. I haven't worked in them all yet, but I will. She said, it'll take years to finish them. And I go, yep, that's about what it's going to be for me, years. So, and I think everything's right here. So I want to clip in this second signature. And I can actually leave a pretty good gap in here if I want, because that'll leave me space. I don't want a big gap, but that'll leave me space for tip-ins if I want to tip in watercolor papers or urban sketches and stuff like that. See, I can bind this. In fact, I think I'll take this and clip it to the back cover like this. And then I'll have space in here. I don't want it clear to the back cover, though. Let's leave a little space. I have to get it so I can see it. Let's leave a little space here. Look at my journals. Oh, and I have that watercolor. Let's put that inside so that this page will hold it down. That watercolor page is just a little bit shorter than the rest of them. Straighten them out. And I think if I clip it just a little, see, and I'll be putting my wrap around here. So make sure that my clip will hold it. There. And maybe up a little. Up a little. Up a little. I can't see what's going on up here. I guess it's okay. It may not be straight though. I always fuss with this. I always fuss with it. And when I'm doing it online, I can't really see the top without getting my head in the way. Leave a little space here. There's that. This just fits. And I don't care if the pages stick out a little. That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me. That's cool stuff. If I want to tear them, I will. Okay. Now this, I'm going to, if I don't, see, I'll have a pretty good gap in there. And I think I like that because if I want to tip something in, I can. Right in here. I think I like that. If I can carry on with this. Let's put that band on this. Oops, I may not want it on that. Let's put my band on this. I think. I might have to adjust that. Don't worry about that. That'll be taken care of. I'm going to wrap this around here for now. Hope I don't want to take that band off till I'm done. So I'm putting my tassel in there to get it out of the way. I think I want this loose so I can work in here. If I bind it, if I tighten it there with my clip, we'll see. All right. So I have my needle and my thread, and I do the same thing again. Oh, isn't this fun to watch? Mary's binding her journal. I probably will not do this every month. I did it, I think, in March. It was either March or April, and it didn't turn out too good, but this one's turning out nice. So I leave a nice long thread here. I like it about 3 inches on each side. That gives me a lot of length for my tassel. And then I do 8. 1, 8 lengths of this from here to here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That should be 8. Maybe I'll give it 9 just because I'm not sure. It won't hurt. Just one more extra length. There. And then I grab a hold and I double this. And that makes it really long, but that gives me the room for my tassel. And then I just start doubling it here. Get my scissors out of the way. Don't let this tangle. Keep this nice and even here. And I'm pulling it off of the second thread off of the row here, off of the skein. See, it can tangle if you're not careful. If that starts happening, stop and don't pull it tight, pull it out. Don't pull like that. You want to unloop it. You want to unloop it. It just looped in on itself. Sometimes if you shake it, it'll come out too. Oops, that was what I didn't want to do. But it's not pulled tight, it's just pulled in on itself. There we go. Keep pulling it off of the row. And now I can snip it. Get my thread out of the way. Get my scissors out of the way. Get my binder clip out of the way. This thread wants to catch on anything it can. It would probably catch on that if it could. Maybe I'll move that over a little. Thread my needle, get some DNA on it, but I always snip that part off anyway, so I don't mind the DNA on the end. Helps me thread it through. DNA meaning spit. Now, get it threaded through there. Oops. Can't see what I'm doing. Well, maybe if I clip those again. There we go. All right. I'm ready to do that same thing again. Up at the top, I do my 2 little holes, and I try to make it even with this. I might have to adjust a little here. I think I'll be okay. I might have to put this other clip right here. We'll see if that helps. And what did I do with my awl? Here it is. I need to get a drink of tea. But see, since I did all that stitching in there, I put that Gorilla tape, clear Gorilla tape, 2-inch wide. It's packing tape. I got it at Menards. I put that there, and that just helps. That helps hold those stitches in there without tearing my canvas. I like that there. And I'm ready to do maybe a down right about, kind of eyeballing it here. Right about, maybe down this bit. That might be good. I actually probably could maybe put these pages on. Let's see if that works. I'm not sure this is going to work. Sometimes I do that and I end up taking them out again. There. Get everything nice and cozy here. Looks like it'll work. And see how we had that extra length here? That's all been taken up with this signature and the gap that I'm leaving in there. I can do some nice tip-ins in there, I'm thinking. All right, let's go back to this. I think I was about down to here. Looks about even to me. Right about there. Oops, I moved it. I'm going to drill the hole. This clip kind of gets in my way. I keep moving it. Let's see if I can still work with it. No, it's getting in my way. Move it over that way a little. Yeah. Making sure that you could measure. I'm not measuring. I'm eyeballing it. It's going to come out in here someplace. We'll see where it comes out at. It's coming out right here. Pretty good eyeballing. Right at the end of my tape, though. I have to say, doing the downward, and it's kind of, but I don't mind that, but it's still kind of not doing my... Now get this done first. There we go. I guess it's going to lay flat. It's just that I have that ball in there. It'll be fine. All right, then I have to do 2 up here at the top, or I do 2. Make sure that goes through again like you want it. It's catching on my tape here. It's catching on my tape. There. The very edge of my tape. I think I got it now. All right, let's do it again, about a 1/2 inch down. And I don't like that it's catching the edge of my tape. that I guess I could work with it. There we go. Now, because this is I want to go back through this one. I'm not sure that that's going to go back through. Just kind of, it goes through that way. You kind of have to hold it in the same position. Hold it tight and go back through that way. There we go. This is probably a little boring to watch, but I thought it would be interesting for you to see how I bind these journals and actually bind one successfully. And this one's going pretty good. Pretty good. There we go. All right, I'm ready to put my needle through. And I don't poke all my holes. Well, I did before, but I am my threads always getting sticky from the tape. I find it's easier to poke the holes through as I go. That needle went through really nice. So here we do. This is, I think the traveling down here is the hardest because you have to poke all those holes. It's easiest coming back. It's easiest coming back. This thread has a little weak spot in it there. I didn't do that. Oops. My thread is not even. Let's see, it's caught on my scissors. I might have to even out this thread again, but we'll see. See, I'm getting a loop there. We'll see when I get down to the bottom. Yeah, I think I can work it out there. There we go. And I'll leave my loop. It'll twist a little. And let's see if I can't put this needle back through. I might have to hold it tight again. I don't know if that's going to go through the same way. Yeah. Is it coming through? No. Yeah. I usually have to work with this a couple times. The second one's a little harder because you got the bulk of that first one in there. Well, they all went through the good that way. Maybe I just need to hold on to it tight here. I turn it. Where's my needle? Yeah. It's not the easiest. I'm losing it. Did I lose it? Yeah. It comes through good that way. How come it doesn't go through good this way? There. Get it started and then I'm okay. So for now, I got to make sure I'm not twisting this. I think it's harder to come from the outside in than to go from the inside out. For some reason, it's harder for me. Because I poke my holes from the inside out, not from the outside in. Now I have to go back and re-poke them. I got one thread longer than the other here. There we go. Oh, I pulled it through. Oh. I wonder if I can rethread another needle and put that back in. I pulled it. Let's see if I can. This old needle's a big old thing, but maybe I can rethread this. I didn't mean to do that. Rethread this through. Where's the hole? Yeah, I goofed. I might have to take this out and do it again. I'm trying to save it. Don't do this. Well, you might get my face in the way, head in the way. I'm sorry about that. And I'm gonna pull it out. I'm gonna pull it out. I pulled it through wrong. I pulled it through too much. That needle back. I'll start all over again. Only this time I'm going to clip that thread to the clip there. Lesson learned. At least I didn't knot up my thread. Holes are there. Not a very interesting session this morning, but I thought you'd like to see me bind a journal. And it doesn't happen somewhat slick boom boom bang boom. Sometimes when you see edited videos, all of this is edited out. There, now I clipped it on. It shouldn't pull through. Now let's see if I can get this other one. It goes in there nice. Now if I just hold it tight, I think that's the trick, is holding it tight while I turn it so I can work with it. Pull my thread. I might tangle up my thread here. So if I can get that through. Are you going to go through? Are you going to go through for me? No. Yeah. Get at it here. Goes through nice that way. Come at it this way. Getting it. Put my needle there. There. Ha! Now, my thread, I don't want to get it all tangled up here. Let's pull it through. Hopefully I can do this without tangling it. Yeah, I suppose if you'd want to work with a shorter thread, you could. But I like my long threads. I'm not going to change anytime soon. My needle here. Put it through that loop, and that'll make my blind knot. I'm not changing my ways anytime soon. There. I like that pretty good. Now, eyeballing about down to about to there. About to there. Let's see if I can do this a little faster. About to there. Drilling it through, drilling it through. Here it comes right on the edge of that tape. I find this coming from the inside to the outside is so much easier. I guess if I punch from the outside in, but I can't. I don't like doing that. All right. Pull it through. Keep my threads untangled here. There we go. Now we're ready for the center one, which is right about there. I could measure, I eyeball it. Might be a little, we'll see. Drilling it through, drilling it through. Yeah, pretty good, Mary. And let's see if I can do that same trick that I did above. Where's my needle? Put my needle right there where that awl is. As my awl comes out, my needle goes in. Is that going to work? I don't know. It should be in the same spot. And make a hole here. I'm trying to do this with my left hand. Huh. Yeah. I turned this book around so many times. It goes through this way just fine. I always have trouble coming from the outside back in again. Thread out of the way. There. Phew. That one's hard for me. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I poke through that way first, and then I trim back through. I should poke this way first. But I don't like poking that way first because I can't see where I'm going. It'll be easier going back. It'll be easier going back. And I don't like poking all the holes at once because they get all out of alignment for me. All right. I like to poke them as I go because if I poke this and poke this and poke that and poke that, by the time I got this one done, all of these would be out of alignment. Then I'd have a mess going down here. I got 2 more to go here. So this one is right about in here. Right about, well, where is it? It's right here. Right about there. Might be a little low over here, but that's okay. No, it's just about right. This one should go pretty fast because it's going from the inside out. There we go. That's my needle. That went through real nice. See, I don't have a bit of problem going from the inside out. Pull my thread taut. Make sure that it's in there nice. It is. Now I'm going to bite the bullet and see if I can't poke from the outside in. See if that helps me any. Since I know I want to go right about there. I always get off in here though. Now, let's see what happens. It's at the very bottom, right about there. See, my needle is 1/2 inch off. I don't like that. My needle would have come off way up in here. For some reason or another, I like to do it this way better. Well, I just told you why. Maybe up just a teeny bit. No. There it comes. Now, let's see if I can go back through. I'm not going to be able to. Probably should turn the book upside down. Hurry with the needle, Mary. See if I can get that in there fast. Yay. Now it should be easy going. Traveling back is a lot easier. That was the last hole that we had to poke. Oops, what do I have going here? Got my needles twisted. I caught on there. Yay! Pull my thread tight, make sure it's tight like I want it. Yay! Looking nice. Now let's travel through. Let's see if I can travel through with no problems. Back. This should go easier, hopefully. She said it should. Didn't mean it was going to. Come on. Why aren't you going in there? There you go. Oops. Penelope, you're in the way. I think I'm done with this. Oh, I'm going to put it up before I lose it. Yay! Then I have to come up and through this one. Should go in there pretty good. Once I see where I'm going. Sometimes with these, when you pull that thread tight, your hole is actually lower than where you think your thread is coming out. And that's not going in there straight. I'm putting it in the wrong one. As I put it in the wrong one. And I can't see where I'm going. Well, this is not as easy as the other one was. Let's poke it through this way. It's coming out there. There. It's traveled a little. We'll let it travel. Shifting my pages. I don't know why that's not going back through for me. It's coming out way over here. That's okay. It's all right. This one didn't either. In fact, I want to take this thread and pull on this and even it up a little. Turning the book back and forth too much. There. Turning it back and forth too much. Got a mess going on in here. By the time I find my needle, I've messed up my it's coming out in the right spot. Why I can't get my needle back to it. Doesn't want to go in there. Really stuck in there. So they're coming out in the right spot. It just doesn't want to go through. Why not? This one is not going good for me. It's off a little. It'll be off a little in the center. I just want to get it done. I don't care. I can draw it together. See, it's off. But when that happens, what I do is just slip my needle under. And put, that centers it up again. I don't know why it's doing that. I twisted this page back and forth, but that centers it. It tears it a little in there. Ha! That other one traveled back really nice. This one I'm having trouble with. This one I'm having trouble with. I don't understand. It's off, but I can fix it. At least it's going through. It's still nice and neat. I got a little loop there I want to take care of. It's still nice and neat. Pulling my thread tight here. I mean, the lines are nice and straight. Yeah. This is what I'm doing here. That one didn't travel back as nice. I'll catch it under here. All right. I've still got a pretty nice straight line. I got a little gap in there. I'm not happy with that. I could go back down, and I might do that. Just kind of see if I can take care of that gap. I've got enough thread. My threads needs to be straightened out. Just catch it like that. That cleans it up a little. Come back and catch it back in here again. That isn't really a thing to do, but it's my art journal. So I used 2 extra inches of thread. Catch it in here again. Made it a little extra thread in there, but it cleaned this gap up a little. Now, I don't know if this will go in there nice. If it doesn't go in nice, I'm not going to fool with it. I'm just going to do that short stitch on it right here. I got that little stitch. I'm going to start putting my tassel on it right there, rather than try to go in and out. Now I can get rid of these clips that are driving me nuts. All right, let's do the last tassel here. Right in here. I'm gonna stitch it a couple times. Bring it down. Maybe about 3 inches or so underneath the journal. Pull it up here. Get my 4 threads and stitch it. And I'm going to pull it. Thread. I'm going to make an extra stitch here. See, look how it pulls on those, even these little scraps of paper. That's why I say clean your desk off. Yeah, thread will just, it just looks for things to hold on to. I'm going to do one more stitch just to make sure that it's tight. Yeah, what did I do here? So I get too anxious. I want to get it done. Don't pull tight on it when something like that happens. Just kind of work it out, shake it out. Sometimes if you just shake it, it'll fall out. It just twists. Shaking it sometimes untwists it. Oh, and of course it fell over onto my tape over here. Oh dear. You got to get your workspace clean. Alrighty, we'll call that good. Alright, now let's see. We got 2 there. Making my second cast, my second loop here. Pull it up like that. I pulled it down and then I hold on to it and pull it back up again. Kind of hold on to it here while you're stitching. Keep your threads from untangling. Sometimes I pull one thread, not both of them at the same time, and it tangles them up. And just tying a knot here. In my opinion, you cannot knot it too many times up at the top. That really holds your tassel. And my thread is catching on the things here. The more loops you get, though, the shorter your thread gets, the easier it is to work with it. Yeah. Do another loop. I don't know if this was painful to watch. I hope that it was interesting to watch. It worked out in the end. It always works out in the end. I have a little bit of trouble going from the outside of my journal back into the inside. And I might have to figure out a way to drill that hole the same way both directions. It just still, and I know the phone book thing, but I don't like that. I have enough to hold on to without holding on to a 10-pound phone book. There. Do another loop down. Whoops, I unthreaded my needle. My thread caught on. Caught on something that pulled right off of my needle. Yeah. See if I can get it threaded again. Ha! Yay. I'll make a knot in here again. Gets a lot easier to work with if it's shorter. Yeah, but I like my long threads for my tassels. The further you get, the shorter it gets. I'll make a couple knots here. I think this will be the last loop. Do a couple more knots just to make sure it's tight. So I kind of like to make my tassels at the same time that I bind it. It's just what I like to do. Somebody's saying something to me out there. Sorry about that. I'm still working. Or Sweetheart's talking to Anne, I guess. All right, so let's put my needle away. Now I can take this off of the rope here. It's all twisted in there, but that should come out pretty quick here. Yeah. And now I have two really long tassels, just about the same length, not quite, I mean the same height. Not quite, but just about. Not enough to worry about. Now I want to cut them. And I make mine really long so that I can cut them whatever length I want. So I usually cut them right about in here. Let's see what I did on my July journal. So I cut it a little bit below on my July journal. And I made my tassels. Did I make them a little bit? Well, they seem thicker to me. Oh, I got 3 of them. That's why. All right. So let's cut it a little below. Since that's what I did for July, we'll cut it right about in here. Right there. Just give it a haircut. There we go. Ha! All that pain, but now my journal's bound. Now my journal is bound. Now I got some tape there, but I'm going to put my, we'll take care of that. But look at this. See how I can work in my journal. Yay! Look at that. What time is it? 7:07. I did pretty good. Anne retracted a message. Bootsy said, "This is so clever. I'm going to have to watch the rerun." It gets a little painful to watch there when I'm going when I come from the inside with my needle going to the outside of my journal. It goes fine. And then I poke another hole down here, but I want to come from my outside back to my inside. But because I poke my hole from the inside to the outside, it's a little bit harder for that needle to travel back in. And I don't like poking it from the outside, poking my hole from the outside to the inside, because I can't see it. It never ends up in the gutter area. I like poking my hole, so I poke my hole from the inside outside, and then I try to go back through that same hole again and work it out, but it doesn't always work for me. So I'm still kind of working that one out. We'll get it. We'll get it eventually. Now, I have a couple other things I want to do before I leave. And that's this. I want to put a pocket, because this is canvas. This is off of a canvas pad. I don't want to call it fabric, and I don't want to call it paper. I suppose it's some sort of a woven thread thing. I'm not sure how they make that. They call it canvas, but it's pretty flimsy in there. So I like to take a piece of poster board, and this one's cut a little shorter than normal. I usually get it over in here, but I'm going to put it right in here, and that strengthens these corners here. So I do that 2 ways. I do it with double-sided tape and glue. And then I have a pocket that I can tuck things in. So let's get my tape out. Yeah. You know, I thought getting another container to hold my stuff would be, oh, there goes my red, would be a good deal, but I don't know. I still got as much stuff piled up here as ever. All right. So, and this Gorilla tape, I'm not sure about it. It's holding nice here, but it's not sticking so good in here. Maybe I just need to press it. I've been working with this fine, so I probably pulled at it enough to. All right. So we want to put this down here. And this is an off-brand tape. Don't ask me what kind, because I don't know. I don't think it's Ms. Sparkles, though. I'm having trouble finding my Ms. Sparkles. Kind of irritated at Joann's. They get me liking something, then they take it away from me. And it doesn't have to be a deep pocket. I just, to tell you the truth, I write my art prompts down when I do pictans, and I stick them down in there when I'm done, or any other thing that I want to put down in there. Yeah, I guess I should probably do this too. A little piece right in here. Yeah. And then I think I'm going to use tacky glue. And I think let's get my phone out of the way. Let's lift up the tape here. I watched Tim Holtz pull the double-sided tape off, and he had his little pokey tool. And it worked really good, and I've been using my palette knife to get under there. It's really thin, and it seems to get under there quite nice after I buffer it down. Not all the time. It doesn't work all the time. I still have troubles with it, but okay, I'm going to put this little cap up here on my lamp stand so I know where it's at. And I put some tape around some glue around the tape. It keeps the papers that I put in there from sticking onto the tape, and it also kind of holds it, adds an extra bond. This is Aileen's tacky glue. And I try to get it out here as close to the corners as I can because I want to stiffen those corners. And if I have to trim it any, I will. There we go. I might have to trim it a teeny bit here. Not too bad. See, and that just stiffens the corners here. And then on the back, I have this. And I usually make a pocket, but I don't know. Let's see. I want this to be a wraparound. So I want enough to wrap around there. That should be enough right there. How many inches did that go? I could make it a little. I could have a little pocket. Keep my finger there and mark it. That's about 1, 2, 3, 4.5 inches in. One, 2, 3, 4.5. About to there. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. About to there. That should be about the same. Well, let's cut this a little straighter. I cut that with my scissors. I cut this with my scissors. I just whacked at it. Let's trim it up a little. Make it a little neater. Yeah. Now, I want this to go about to here. About 4.5 in. Oh, that marked it there. Okay. Tape. Am I doing that right? Yeah. Only I want to tape it. I don't want to tape this. I want to tape it. Let's mark 4.5 again. About 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could actually measure it with my ruler. Four and a half. Ah, I was there. I was there. Now, is that going to be enough? Let me look again here. It better be. Yeah. Yep, that's good. Alrighty. Let's do this. We don't need this anymore. I'll run my tape this way. This way. Don't forget, at 12 noon Central Time today, on Tanya, it's on Lisa's channel. Lisa at My Eclectic Life will be the second installment of their July journal. 12 noon Central Time. And they'll be binding a journal. And they'll probably have much clearer instructions than I really wasn't doing mine as a tutorial. I don't do tutorials. I do demonstrations of what I do. This is the Meri method. All right, let's put some glue. Oops. Got some scrap. Oh, that's I was going to do some other work today but I bound my journals, about all I got done, but that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Let's see my tape here for my shadow. Oh, I'm gluing it on the wrong. No, Meri, no. Well, that's the inside. Let's no, Meri, no. That was the wrong thing to do. Where's my white paper? I don't want it to stick, so I put the glue on the wrong side. I wonder if I can just wipe that up with wet. If it will. I didn't want that to stick. I wanted it to go here. No wonder I wasn't seeing my tape. And Aileen's tacky too. I could put some washi there. Let's put some washi there. Washi tape to the rescue. It's probably still sticky. Christmas washi. This will go on the inside anyway. Oh, am I going to find it? I have to go through my washi tapes and get them started for me again. Let's get one that I can actually find the into. We'll just washi tape it. Notice how straight I put that down? Thing in the way. Now you can put glue on there, Meri. Now you can put glue on it. You don't want to see the stack of papers that I got off over to my left. I get into the worst messes. I get into the worst messes. I got my mouth full. Both hands are occupied. I need another mouth and 3 more hands. I had the lid in my mouth and tape in my hands, and I'm just doing this because I put glue, tacky glue down here when I didn't want to. So I'm just putting washi tape over. Okay. Fold this under, Meri. Okay. All right. So I want to come down this way with my tacky glue. Sorry about that, Meri. Put my lid back on. Okay. All right, now we're going to put that in the back here. Right about in. I'm going to move it up a little because I don't know where I glued on the back. That should do it. Oops. That didn't do it. I have to go in a little bit more. I'm not even sure that's going to hold it. Let's put some more tacky glue on there. I ripped that up too easy. It shouldn't have come up that easy. Come on. Let's just put a lot of tacky glue on here. That came up way too easy. Yeah, I got messy glue, Mary. All right. Let's do it this way. I can't see where I'm going there, but I'm going to trust that it's straight. That's pretty good. Now I have my pocket in there after this all dries. And this will go this way and this will come around, and I put some tape here. Let's do that now. That's not drying. Good. That's some of that Gorilla tape. Oh, my papers are flying all over the place. One of my patterns. All right. Mary, just go buy your journal. Nope. No button journals in my life. Not buying my journals. Too much. Too expensive. I'll make them. I'd rather make them, paint them. There's nothing like your own journal. Got a little paint coming off on my. It's a good way to get paint off your hands is take a piece of old tape and Clean your hands. All right. I don't know if that is going to come off or not. It came off, but it just went down. A little speck there is bothering me. Yeah, so I got another one over here. Let's just cut them off. There. Ah. Mary's mostly talking to herself this morning. This is not much of a chat stream. But I'm getting my August journal bound. I don't know. Stuff seems to catch up on it. It seems to attract it, doesn't it? I don't know why it does that. Static, I guess, attracts it. Little blotches of paper. There's another one in there. We're just going to leave it. Where's my... There we go. I'm not so sure about this, but I've been turning this journal up and down and all around here, but this should be sticking better. Look, I can peel that up. That kind of bothers me. We'll leave it that way for now, see how long it holds. Maybe it just needs to be left alone for a while. And this will go this way. Now I have a nice plastic piece in there. I could put more in there. I gotta. Well, that's okay though. That's okay. Oops. See, that's not sticking down, and that was tacky glue and tape. I'm finding that stuff really is not sticking too well to this canvas paper, but that tacky glue really isn't dry yet either. That's wet. I think I just need to let it dry. Put this around like this. And as it fills up, woohoo! Whoa! It's done. I took the cap off of this. Didn't put it back where I could find it. There we go. Let's see what you guys are saying to me. Hi, other Janet. Hi, Journey. Hi, Dar. Hi, Ray, Bootsy, Cheshire. Shauna's in the house. You've been lurking? That's okay to lurk. I've been talking to myself all morning. I haven't really been chatting much. I've been getting my journal bound. I'm pretty happy with how it got bound, and I had a little bit of trouble on the second one, going back, traveling back, but it worked. I got it out there, and this I think will be fine once it dries. I think that it just needs some dry time in there. I'm just going to weight it down, leave it. So I've been in my own little world this morning. Making videos. Roy says, making videos has made me seem a little less eccentric. Now when someone hears me talking to myself, I tell them that I'm not crazy. I'm just rehearsing the script for my next video. That's the way to do it, Roy. I don't know. I used to laugh at my mom because she cooked and she'd always talk to herself as she cooked. But then I read someplace that talking to yourself like when you're cooking is really not a bad thing. It's a sign of intelligence. I guess that's what it said. Oh, I didn't get this one snipped. I didn't snip far enough down on some of these. I just cut it across. Let's just snip that. There we go. So I think it's okay to talk to yourself. But if I talk to myself, I'm working out the issues that I'm the not issues, the procedures of what I'm doing here. And in the meantime, I'm kind of telling you what I'm thinking. By the way, this has been clear coated with this ceramic coat. I think this is what Dee Dee uses, only I think she uses the gloss. I've got the satin. I bought the satin because I know Dee Dee really likes the glossy, but the glossy to me sticks. I stack my journals up on each other, and so I buy the satin kind. I like the satin. It gives it a little sheen to it. And I wrote August 2019, and I used my Sharpie. Here's the other thing. I used my Sharpie on this after I had clear coated it, and I could just take my Sharpie and wipe it right off. This is the Pen Plus Gear permanent pen, but my Sharpie just wiped right off. So I'm going to have to sign this. I don't know if I want to sign it with these or not. Let's see if this one will sign it. Let's see. Yeah, I guess it will. And I got August up here. I'm going to run into I'll just leave it like that. So, yeah, I've been in my own world this morning in front of all of you. Roy says, I don't consider my videos tutorials either. I think of them as explorations. That's a good way to look at it. And this is how I do it videos. That's kind of how I feel. And, I don't do it the same as everybody else. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. But, yeah. I'm leaving mistakes in more and more. Perfections is left to the creator. Yes, I totally agree. There's no striving for perfection, but I don't get too tied up in it either. And I'll have to tell you, when I use a pencil to draw rather than an ink pen, a pencil, I'll find that I'll go back and erase a lot more. If I have an ink pen and I'm drawing, a mistake is there, it's there, I'm leaving it. But if I have a pencil in my hand and I make a mistake, I go erase it and try to get it right and erase it again. And so, and look here, I wore the paint off of my top of my, I didn't wear it off. I had a black line. Let's fix this. I had a black mark coming down here and I painted it off. Let's fix this. Let's just put some, this permanent marker works pretty good on this canvas, but I will say that this is black paint. It's okay to go over this with black. Like I could outline her dress here in black and it would stay. It would stay. It won't rub off. But if I draw on this canvas, raw canvas that has not been painted over, you could see the little white gaps in there, the little texture of the white. So I came back in and I painted this with black craft paint before I varnished it. Let's see what else is going on out there. What else did I miss? Thank you, Journey. It did turn out, I'm happy with all my journals in the end. Sometimes I struggle. I don't think I struggled as much with this one. And this does not look as thick, but I must have 25 pages in each signature. And there's 25 sheets. And there's 4 pages to a sheet. So that's 200 pages in my journal. Now I will not be arting on every page. These have to stick a little bit more. That's the other thing I'm learning, that the glues and the tapes, they don't want to stick to this canvas too much. I'm not sure. I might have to get out some Yes paste and see if that'll stick. But like this, I might journal in here some. Oh, and let me show you here what I found yesterday when I was cleaning out my books, cleaning out underneath on my desk here. It was terrible. At least I got it straightened out now. But I have this Our Glorious Century book, and I had the one for the 1890s, but this one is in the 1900s, and there's an entire chapter. This theme is going to be the 1920s for my August art journal. And there's an entire chapter. This is all World War I in here, but they call it the unruly decade. They call the 1920s the unruly decade. And see, they got some of that deco art in there, deco art style going on. And I don't know, she looks like she might be a flapper, but they're certainly dancing. I don't see. Oh yeah, here's the prohibition thing here. Where's the women's right to vote? Women got the right to vote. I don't see them voting. I don't see the women voting in this. Maybe they cut it off. But there's an entire chapter here of the 1920s with really wonderful fussy cuts. I might have to go photocopy some of this. I might have to photocopy it to use it in my art journal, because I don't know. There's too much neat stuff going on here. A lot of really fun things. So I might be photocopying this to use for personal use in my art journal. So, and look, they go into the 1930s. The 1950s might be fun to do. Let's see. Oh, that's the 60s. 1950s might be fun to do. I don't know if I want to do that this year or not. September, October, November, December. December, I'm going to do they call the 50s, what do they call, excuse me. Let's see what they call the 50s here. Post-war and change. Is that what they're calling the final chapter? That's World War II. 45 to 59. They don't go by the decade here. They go by 1945 to 1959. 1950 to 53. Let's see if they have another break in there. I don't think they do. So they broke this one up a little bit differently. And are we into the 60s yet? Suburban values. This looks like 60s in here where they're starting to riot. 63. Do you know where you were on November 22nd? I know where I was. I was at a volleyball game over in Geneva, Nebraska. I think I was in 6th grade. Some of you probably weren't even born yet. Yeah, chapter 7 is the glorious 60s. The clamorous, C-L-A-M. I'm going to say, what was so glamorous about the 60s? Yeah, it was clamorous. So they broke this one up a little bit different. They go from 1945 to 1959. But I really like what they've done over here in the 20s. I'm going to be using a lot of that 1920s stuff in here. And I'll probably be getting inspiration from it too, for my own art, for borders and stuff like that. What else is going on out there in chat? I get so sidetracked. My idea, I think I have deep pockets. Oh, I mean a journal pocket. Scary journey. Thankfully, he's where he can get the best help. Let's see. Journey's telling us something about, please pray for my son. I told you all he was so sick last week. I took him back to the doctor yesterday. They called an ambulance, oxygen being 78%. He's in the hospital with pneumonia. Journey, you have our prayers. You have our prayers for your son. And Beth Schuler probably is not in here. She might be listening. Well, keep her mother in your thoughts and prayers too. Her mother's battling cancer. Okay. Well, let's go back. I know I missed a lot of chat. Wish I could watch the live on Lisa's channel. We'll have to catch the replay. Yeah, I understand, Nancy. Life gets in the way, doesn't it? Yeah, and Christy said the same thing. I'll have to catch the replay on Lisa's noon show. You're working today. Isn't that the way it is? Work gets in the way of our fun. I'm retired now. Linda, I'm going to binge your comic book series so I can make a channel organization resource journal. What a great idea, Roy. Very good idea. Thank you, Janet. Hi, Linda. Linda McAllister's popped in here. Yeah, Linda is the guest today on Lisa's channel. So Lisa and Tanya will be going live at 12 noon Central, and Linda McAllister is their guest. I'm going to call you designer. We're finishing up. I'm working along with them the long stitch journal, which is going to be another binding journal. I'm going to be binding all day today. All righty. Well, it's almost 8 o'clock, but I got my journal bound. I'm ready to work in my August journal. I've got today and tomorrow yet for my July one. I'm going to do some borders and maybe some sketching. Yay! Thank you all for bearing with me today. Have a nice day. If you have some time, do some art. We'll see you over at Lisa's channel at 12 noon Central. Bye.